Welcome to From a Certain Point Askew, the only Star Wars podcast that apparently warmly welcomes host infidelity into our triad. I am Jason, the Ginger Jedi Guy, broadcasting live from inside Wookiee Studios. I'm not alone. Please allow me to introduce your favorite wretched scum, scoundrels, and smugglers. First up, my neighbor from Corellia, neighbor Cole.
You can introduce me as your faithful neighbor from Corellia.
Okay.
Infidelity, it's not in my...
Yeah, there's never, we don't have a fight. We communicate well. We finish each other's sentences.
If we wanna bring a third person in, we discuss. We bring it out right up to the front, at the front of the line.
We're not afraid.
We're open with our sexuality and with our podcasting.
Some hosts just like to go, behind their other friends' backs, so to speak.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a shame.
And it wasn't even like a host where the name was the same. Immediately we caught on because he started calling us Ty.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, do you want to fight?
He kept asking us.
Fight?
He kept asking us to wear beards for some reason. Put a little fake beard on.
Yeah. I like it when there's a White Claw in your hand.
Well, I think that episode when I accidentally said the wrong name.
We've not introduced you yet.
Sorry. Fine.
You don't get to talk yet.
Okay, I'll just sit here.
Take your beating.
No, just kidding. We like to play. Matt brought a little friend of his into it. Well, they had a little podcast. Trist? How do you say that word? Is it Trist? It's Trist. Yeah, had a little podcasting tryst without letting us know. Mm-hmm. We're, working through that on air as we speak right now.
Right.
But,
That's the best thing to do is, to keep everything open.
No hard feelings. We do have a third micer. His name is Matt. He's not actually a cheating whore.
Right.
He is a loyal, faithful showrunner that keeps us on task.
We really couldn't do it without him and his spreadsheets.
And he's a very, very dear friend. And he's also a Republican, if you guys didn't know.
That's Republic.
He's Republic. He's Republic. He's not Empire. I'm sorry. That's a slip of the tongue. It was a mistake, Matt. I swear to God. Welcome to the show, Matt. How you doing, buddy?
It's great to be here. Really off to a hot start. I feel really welcome. As we discussed that one time when I revealed my podcast infidelity to you, it was one of those where you got a bunch of people you're trying to coordinate with. I'm trying to get the show out there and part of this podcast network and expand, make new friends for the show. So I felt like I was doing the right thing for the show, but maybe in your eyes, it felt like a betrayal.
I think it plays better if we play it as a betrayal, for sure.
We don't really give a fuck. We got to have
there's
something.
There's probably going to be another one coming up. And you guys mad at me again.
If there's not drama, people don't tune in, right? You got to have drama.
That's true. Just have to have a new and interesting introduction. That's all that really that amounts to.
Well, I just hope that you guys are sweet to my mister from when we talk to him later.
Your purse?
If you want to find our show, you can find us at FromACertainPointAskew.com. Go on Twitter at FACPApod and go email the show, FACPApod@gmail.com. Please reach out to the show. Please review and rate the show. It really helps. You can also find us as part of the Podawan Podcast Network at Podawans on Twitter.
We want your emails, and we want to hear from you on Twitter. All right, so what do we got on the show today? We got a question of the week, and our news, we're going to talk the 21-22 Star Wars release schedule. Our guest that we've sort of alluded to, Ty from the Wayfinder Podcast, is going to join us. Holy shit.
Ty from the Wayfinder Podcast.
Where are my words? We've got 2 emails in our Maul Bag, and we got a FACPAtoid we're going to wrap the show up with. So we'll get to Ty in a minute. But first, our question of the week.
Take it away, neighbor Cole. Having witnessed Ahsoka behead multiple Mandalorians/stormtroopers in the past, and seeing how aggressive Boba Fett was in The Mandalorian, paired with Robert Rodriguez's promising an even more aggressive version coming, how long until we see Mortal Kombat-like fatalities in the Star Wars universe?
And this is something you sort of alluded to in the previous episode well.
Yeah, I didn't mean to walk all over your question of the week.
So, but yours is classy. Yours is old school, spaghetti Western type Quentin Tarantino thing. And I'm going just straight up fatality.
Yeah. I've always been a proponent of some adult themed Star Wars violence, but it wouldn't be. We're in the wrong streaming service /studio for that.
Yeah.
Disney just doesn't like.
But we can play around here. It could be our what if scenario for a minute.
Push the envelope.
Yeah. So what do you want to see? Who would be a good filmmaker? So you would go with Quentin Tarantino still? Robert
Rodriguez is also a natural choice. Those two have worked together in the past quite a bit. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Who do you like? You like Michael Bay?
Oh man, did you see that? like the opening of Six Underground, where fucking people are just being beheaded, cars are hitting people left and right, dead bodies are flying everywhere.
That sounds like Star Wars.
Yeah.
You know what I'd like to see is like some special forces, not like Bad Batch-esque, but like some special forces tactics with the stormtroopers.
Like Charlie Sheen and Michael Biehn from Navy SEALs.
Yeah, exactly. a lot less hip firing of the blaster, a little bit more shoulder-mounted tactical movement. You know? Pie the corner, a little bit bounding overwatches.
So like end of watch style, like David Ayer.
Like the end of Tears of the Sun, where they're doing like a firing
Anton
line,
Fuqua.
peeling off.
Okay.
Antoine Fuqua, yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
All right.
One of the things I wanted to mention was there's a video game coming out that just got a trailer recently called Star Wars Hunters, I think. And I think it's meant to be
it's an iPad game, right?
Is it an iPad? I think it's meant to be on multiple platforms. I'm pretty sure. But anyway, I think it's sort of team-based, but it almost has a little bit of the Mortal Kombat feel to it. It's like a lot of one-on-one battles with these, various heroes from Star Wars. So it kind of sounds like that. I doubt it's going to be that vicious,
right,
where you're like ripping the heart out of somebody or anything like that. There's only so far they can go with it. I mean, I guess you can allow them to get a little more adult. They do get darker now, but I can't imagine them going full on. Like even when we watched Rebels and there was the lightsaber beheading by the Inquisitor, you didn't see it. You knew it happened. And I think you even heard the heads hit the floor, if I'm not mistaken. But they don't actually show it. So I don't know. I don't know how dark they're gonna go or how violent they're gonna go.
Like, could you imagine seeing that and just like blood squirting to the ceiling? Just
all
like
over
an
Tarkin's
obnoxious
face.
amount just spraying all over the place. It's like, what? I really thought we cauterized those throats.
Whoa.
I wonder if there's a game all three of us could play together. Like, not what was the World of Warcraft-esque?
We could play Twister.
MMO.
Close optional.
What was the MMORPG from Star Wars?
Galaxies?
Was it Galaxies? Where you could... Is there like a PP...
Pew pew.
MMORPG?
No, what's the... Not PvE... PvP. Player versus player aspect where we could do like a team of 3 and we battle other people. Like, I wonder if we could become the top of the ranks.
Couldn't you do that? And what was the
Battlefront?
Yeah, Battlefront. You could do team, right? Online teams, I think.
Yeah, I think you can join up with people I'm pretty sure, because they definitely had the online version where you play these mass campaigns or like head-to-head battles with other teams. So yeah.
I wonder if we could all get a breakup and a divorce from that, maybe. Like we all just get sucked into this game and don't spend all of our abundant free time that we have.
Matt, tell your lady friend from 10 to 3 a.m. you're ours. See how that goes.
The last spouse standing over here.
Yeah. I'm in the middle of a dungeon raid.
And then we'll do a podcast about our gaming
addiction.
So we're going to need 10 hours a day from you.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Good question, though. Should we get into the news?
I'm good for news.
All right. Well, the only item here is something that I think we briefly mentioned a few episodes ago, and it was this article I saw on Star Wars Newsnet. I think I shared a little bit about it in our DM as well, because we were trying to figure out what was coming up with the shows. And this guy, his name is Miguel Fernandez. He kind of tried to break it out based on certain markers to say this show is probably going to come out around here and then work its way back and forward. And so, Cole, some timelines here. So brace yourself.
I'm braced.
So he mentions how Hawkeye's coming in late November.
Yep.
And so what he's trying to figure out is there was a point where they were saying all the new shows on Disney Plus are going to come out on Wednesdays instead of like Star Wars stuff has come out on Fridays in the past. But they're saying how are they going to do that unless they release 2 on the same day, which is possible because there's going to be overlap with Book of Boba and Hawkeye. It's just going to happen.
Right. Well, at some point with the amount of content they're making, it's unavoidable anyways. So it's going to start at some point.
Yeah, it's got to happen. So the sequence, it is likely that it ends up going, Boba, probably Andor, then Kenobi, with some Disney Gallery eps mixed in. So the way he figures it, he starts by saying like it would be the most boss move to have Kenobi released on Star Wars Day. Have that come out on May the 4th, which might be a little aggressive on the timeline to have it ready by then. I'm not sure because they just wrapped and they're just went into post.
First and foremost, I probably know how you feel, Matt, and I feel the same way. I think Book of Boba should have the fucking Friday slot, and that piece of shit Marvel Hawkeye bullshit should be on Wednesdays.
I'm good with that. I like the Fridays.
How do you feel, Jason?
I don't.
Your
care.
allegiances are.
I'm gonna watch.
Fighting each other.
I'm gonna watch it anyways, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, so you're
both
in for
on Wednesdays,
Book of Boba
Wednesday,
on
Friday,
like us. Team.
Sure.
Team
I'll
Star
go.
Wars.
I'll go Friday. Yeah.
Remember what podcast you're on right now?
Am I agreeing with you? I have no problem.
Yes,
agreeing.
you are.
Yes.
Agreeing with me.
Yes.
With us.
Wednesdays.
Aggressively agreeing with you.
Yes. Yeah, that's what you're doing. See how I just browbeat him?
So he kind of goes back from there. So he's like, okay, So if we have 12 episodes of Andor plus a week for the Disney Gallery, he's anticipating there's going to be a Disney Gallery for every one of these shows, which kind of seems right.
Right.
And he says if they do that, then that would put that show, if you back it up from Kenobi, to February 2nd. And then if Boba has like 6 episodes plus Disney Gallery, it debuts about the middle of December. If it has 7 or 8, it just, bumps it up a week or 2. And then, of course, Kenobi's meant to be 6 episodes. They'd have a gallery for that. So that puts that all the way into like late June. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, all this is in a row. Like this is this fucking crazy run of shows without any breaks like we're getting now.
Right.
And then there's, then he's like, well, then probably it's Bad Batch season 2 after that. And then you don't know how long that's going to be. Are they going to do 16 again? Are they going to do 20? But that's going to put us into the fall. And then that's basically Mando season 3. So
right.
It the way he maps it out, it makes a lot of sense. And I'll share this link in the show notes so people can see how he did it. It basically goes from December, like all the way at least through 2022, straight content the whole way, which
there's Star Wars every week for the rest of the year. Once Book of Boba Fett starts.
Yes.
Again, they didn't consult us in our podcasting schedule, which I take umbrage with. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I'll be happy about the content.
Better block out your weeks.
Still waiting on Filoni to return my voicemails, my multiple
He's busy
voicemails.
right now. He'll get to you.
Well, he better.
All right.
Yes, Cole. We told him you called, Cole. We told him.
His agent.
It's like he's changed his number 3 times. How's he keep calling me?
I'll find you.
I've got ways. So I just thought that was cool. It was kind of encouraging to think about it from that aspect, to go, we're going to get all that shit and then we're going to roll into 23 and then Ahsoka's here, So it's just going to keep fucking churning.
Well, we're rolling into 23 with just as much content, it looks like, and the films will start releasing.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, which we'll get into a little bit of the of that kind of topic about the films when we talk about Marcia. I almost said Marcia Clark. A little O.J. Simpson trial action there. Marcia Lucas, when we talked to Ty from the Wayfinder Podcast, she had some thoughts that I speaking of taking umbrage with.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, she sounds a bit bitter.
Yes. Yeah. Like crying over what came out and stuff. We'll get to that. We'll save it for that.
All right.
So we can do that now. Let's go to our conversation with Ty from the Wayfinder Podcast.
Oh, Ty, we're gonna have a talk with you.
With us today is Ty from the Wayfinder Podcast. Hello, Ty. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for joining us. Listeners of our show may already know your podcast, or they've heard the crossover episode. Let's just get that out of the way now.
Well, at least the listeners are listening to it.
Big elephant in the room.
Yep.
and big old fat infidelity elephant.
You guys still haven't listened to it?
No, we listened to most of it in the car the other day.
Yeah, we started it up.
I have not re-listened to it because my mic quality was so bad. I was cringing at myself, so I couldn't do it.
That's a podcaster right there.
I just couldn't do it.
At least you haven't been shamed for the past few weeks by your co-host for having participated in said crossover event.
Well, when it's good, it's good. You're still young. You gotta get in it while you can.
It'll happen to you more often as you get older, Matt.
I was going to say, I think we talked about this maybe a little on that crossover episode of kind of how we came to know you on Twitter. I can't remember if it was you finding us in some way or if it was the pimp in West Penna, Rural Farm Boy, who connected us.
Oh, man, I don't know. I think it was Rural Farm Boy because at that point in time when I was on Twitter, I was just engaging with everyone. And I ran into Tom because of some dumb shit that I said. And we got into an argument. And then I think I saw your logo and I was like, this is, a generic Star Wars podcast. I guess I'll listen to it. And I actually enjoy y'all's content. So you're not as generic as I thought you were. So
thank you.
It is you know what? I won't fight you on that. After being on, because I wasn't part of the Star Wars podcast, universe stuff, but that logo, that, rather Star Wars whatever is used a lot across podcasts. So yeah, we weren't very original. So version 2.0 is coming. Thanks, Ty.
Well, well, I mean, I don't mean any offense to that. It's a staple in Star Wars. It's that's Star Wars. So
it was recognizable. It grabbed you right away. And I will say, when I was listening to the episode last week, you guys came to the consensus that all roads lead to Rural Farm Boy.
It's true.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
you'll find all of our old merchandise at the Goodwill shortly. with said logo
Oh,
on
the
it.
logo, yeah.
It'll be at
Keep
sale,
it collector's item.
TJ Maxx,
You feeling
Marshalls.
nostalgic for the old stuff? The podcast is a year old.
Yeah, I was thinking about that with the logo the other day, Jay. I was thinking how because you scribbled that down on a napkin
Yep.
and literally sent me a picture of it. And so I worked with a guy to get that worked up. But as I've looked through and found other Star Wars podcasts, I do keep seeing that, and I'm like, oh shit,
Yeah.
maybe we should do something a little more unique next time.
We really invented the wheel on that one.
We sure did. Well, I mean, I of course was going the other way too, and I remember I was drawing like a microphone with a Millennium Falcon coming out of it and all this stuff.
Oh, right.
And I was like, well, that's probably a little too bold for our first attempt. Let's see if the podcast takes off first.
Right. And I was going to ask you, Ty, because we talked about it on our show back on, I guess, episode 0 or whatever, our how we kind of got into Star Wars. I'm significantly older than you. I could probably be your father. But I was curious, like, what
How old
grabbed
are
you
you?
in Star
Wait,
Wars?
how old are you?
I'm 47.
Yeah, you could be my father.
Yep, yep.
I am your daddy.
Oh, you my daddy.
But
was your
yeah,
dad
so
and what does
I think all three of us were original trilogy kind of guys,
Oh, yeah.
given our ages. And I mean, I saw them in the theaters because that's how old I am. But like, what grabbed you? Because I know a lot of people I interact with on Twitter through our account are, it's a little bit younger, and so like they grew up on prequels or Clone Wars or things like that. What grabbed you originally?
It was the original trilogy. See, I was
Attaboy.
born in '94, and if you got story time with Ty, I'll tell you how I got into that. So when I was being raised, I was extremely poor, and somehow my mom always became friends with like some of the richest people I've ever known. It's really ridiculous how one day she was like, "Hey, we're going over to my friend's house." I was like, "Okay, cool, fine." She forced me to come along, dragged me along.
They got doors on their home.
This is what indoor plumbing looks like. Wow.
Well, she just threw me on the truck as a hood ornament and just took me down the road.
I usually get yelled at for peeing inside.
But she took me to this place, and it was a mansion, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I go inside, and she's like, "Hey,"
It was George Lucas's house.
it was Taylor Swift's.
She was gonna drop you off there for a better life. Like, here, I'm gonna leave you on the doorstep.
Yeah.
It was either that or the fire department.
Yeah.
She chose George Lucas's.
She's like, "Hey,
Yeah.
go off and play with the kid who's your age." So I went there, and I walked in this kid's room, and this fucking little shit had like all this nerd stuff all over the wall. And, at the time, of course, VHS tapes, he had like 4 or 5 sets of original trilogy VHS tapes. And every Pokemon game up to that point. Pokemon Yellow, Pokemon Red, Blue, Emerald, blah, blah, blah. And I was just amazed by the fact that I didn't have any of this. So the little shit I am, I stole his Pokemon Emerald, and I stole his original trilogy box set. And my mom, 2 weeks later, asked me, "Hey, did you steal that?" And I said, no. And she said, "Don't lie to me." And I was like, "Okay, I did. Do you want me to give it back?" She's like, "No. I'm going to assume you'll never steal again." I didn't steal again, but that's how I got the original trilogy. And I watched it on a 10-inch TV with the VCR, and I threw a blanket over there, and I watched them all in one night.
Oh, awesome.
Loved it.
Own little cave of wonders. Sounds like that's cool.
Yeah, that's how I watched Rocky, too.
Does that mean that they were the original theatrical, or were they the remaster?
Had to be the special edition.
Yeah, they were the special edition.
Okay, gotcha.
So did you have the 10-inch TV with the cassette player right
Yeah,
in,
yeah.
built in?
And
I
when
had
that
the
went
same
out,
one,
my
I
mom had
imagine.
one of those traveling vans that had one of those TVs.
I was just going to say it was from a van.
and I
fucking
took
awesome.
that one out and then put it in my room.
I remember we used to try to play split screen Perfect Dark on my little 10-inch TV.
Oh,
It was
there's
They're
a
remastering it.
damn near impossible. Yeah, it was. Oh yeah, they brought it back on. They had it on the PS4 for a little while. You could buy it in-game purchase.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think Crystal Enix is working on a new trilogy.
Sweet. Well, that's awesome. Let's talk about your podcast for a minute. So, Wayfinder Pod, which you do with your wife, Darth Lady Shaw. And I love the tagline that you guys use to explain it because it's so morbid and lovely at the same time. What is the tagline?
For our show,
Yes.
it's we explain the minutia of Star Wars. Comics we break down by issue. Shows we break down by episode. And books we break down chapter by chapter. And movies, well, you just get us talking about the movies.
Until we die.
But
But
yeah.
it'll never end. It'll never end. We'll die.
Well, no, but it was we're covering it every piece in chronological order until we die. That grabbed my attention right away when I heard it. I was like, that's awesome. It's like, I mean, I hope you make it.
So that's sort of alludes to like till death do we part, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty intimidating. We had to take an entirely new attitude doing this over. It's not 1938. Like, you know, doing a book chapter by chapter is literally fucking insane. Like, I don't know why I suggested that.
I regret this decision.
Well, you guys can also format that differently going forward, right? Like you can just add 2 chapters together, or
and we will, because I think we're on Light of the Jedi chapter 35 out of 43, and we haven't recorded since then. It's been a month, and we're just letting it simmer so we can catch up and do it differently, so we can interact with people like live. But like kid books and I think YA novels, I think we're gonna do those differently from the actual novel, so we're not killing ourselves.
You know, I disagree. I think you guys should go paragraph by paragraph.
Yeah.
Episode.
You know what? Fuck it. We're going to do that. Sentence by sentence. I'll one-up you. Sentence by sentence.
Every time you hit an adjective, start a new show.
We'll do the syllables. Star Wars.
What the author meant to say, go on for 6 weeks.
Where'd we leave off?
Yeah.
Oh, same page. Never
Also,
mind.
we listened to 1 or 2, and it was driving me fucking insane listening to your guys' podcast. I'm like,
The parrot?
Where? No, not the parrot. But where do I know that woman's voice from? And your wife sounds exactly like fucking Sandra Bullock. Like, it hit me. I'm like, is this Miss Congeniality? I keep having flashbacks of where I hear like parts of her speech, like little audible clues, and then I'm like, where have I heard this person speaking before? And then it's like Miss Congeniality, Speed, The Net, and then it all starts popping through my head.
To go full circle, the neighbor's house he went to and stole the movie from was Sandra Bullock.
I'm going to have to think about her a whole new different way, because when she's sick, she sounds like Jennifer Lawrence, and to me, she's like the worst sounding person in the world. So she's like, hey, I'm sick. And I'm like, oh, shit. Well, I'm out.
Well, hey, you're welcome for that Sandra Bullock fantasy.
There you go.
Coming up for your repertoire.
Hey.
Put that one in the
I'm about
audible.
to text her. Hey, what up, Sandra Bullock?
So did you being married previously and being into podcasting for 13 years now, and Matt, you've got your lady friend, which I'm not quite sure you've ever had her sit down with you on a podcast. Was it difficult for you to get her to podcast with you?
Oh, yeah, it actually, well, yeah, no, it was a lot of, not nagging, but like when we do something together, and everything that we've done together, she's never experienced in her life, like Star Wars.
Okay.
Like nothing. Like she never experienced it before. Podcasting, Halo, whatever. So it was a lot of, hey, do you want to do a podcast? I don't know about it. Hey, let's do a podcast. And one day she was just like, yeah, let's do a podcast. It's just really fucking weird. But
I don't mean to be rude, but was this a mail order bride?
no, it was. It's not. I think our relationship's just really unique. Like, I don't know. Just listening back to the episodes when I edit them, I'm just like, man, Jesus Christ, I wonder if people think that we abuse each other or something, because we talk to each other like we're just, you know.
Well, you just pick on each other.
Right.
Constantly.
Yeah, constantly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I do like how you also pick on Charles Soule for his use of the word
Impossible,
which is funny because when I listen to you, I play a drinking game. Every time you guys say juxtapose, I drink, and I end up just fucking hammered by the end of it.
It's my favorite fucking word of all time, and I swear I'm the only person who says it. I say it at work too, and then the people look at me like, dude, what the fuck?
It's a good word, $5 word.
Well, let's talk High Republic for a minute, because I know Jay and Cole struggled with the audiobook because there was that long, slow build up to impact. It was always like, and then another minute toward impact, and another minute.
It's very similar to like the high speed chase in The Last Jedi, or the slow speed chase.
Oh, man.
They're gaining on us a foot at a time.
Yeah.
I think my main gripe was we were listening to it on an audiobook, and I don't like doing that. I like to read. I think it threw me out. Like, it threw me out of it trying to listen to him.
You didn't like the voices
No,
and the
I'm not a
music, and
fan.
like, if anything, the Star Wars stuff, I've listened to previous stuff before over the years, and I've always liked that because it's more of a, I mean, I guess like a radio play to a certain extent.
Stifles my imagination, my creative side.
Okay. You see it better than they
I see it
perform
better than they could ever do it.
Okay.
In my head,
You listening, George?
like Beethoven.
See, listening to a lot of audiobooks, I'll say that Star Wars fans are spoiled because every other audiobook just sucks ass. Not in
Yeah.
a good way either. Just like, just straight up boring.
Well, yeah, because you're listening to the Halo stuff now or no?
I try, man. It's just like,
Yeah.
you know, the narrator's like Master Chief. He's like, "Hi, I'm Master Chief," and then he's a 6-year-old girl. "Hello, I'm a 6-year-old girl." You know, it's just fucking
Same guy.
yeah, I swear to God, it's dry as ash, man. It's
Oh, that's too bad. With the High Republic, because I actually hadn't read a Star Wars book in forever, and so this was kind of my first jump back into it. Part of the reason was because of getting to know you and your podcast and all that, and I thought, well, this is a good way for me to read with the kids and then like kind of follow along, especially because I'm sure there's stuff that I'm not going to know because again, 40%.
60.
Well, yeah, we're up to 60.
we're 100 tonight.
There you go. Add us all together. We're good. It's been cool to read these books again. You actually recommended to me the Aftermath books, which I think Jay had mentioned to me before as well. And so I started reading that just kind of on my own because I can only read one with my kids. I got to read, I got to have something for the shitter. So reading Aftermath on the shitter is great, particularly when they're talking about Wedgie.
Chuck Wendig, right? Chuck Win. Is it Wendig?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's 3 of them, right? Aftermath and
Coincidentally, that's what your wife calls what you leave in the shitter when you're done with it.
No, that's
Yeah,
a life debt, my friend.
Did you hit a deer, Matt? What happened in here?
I was really locked in.
Was a
I read
wop
6
rat.
chapters and lost 12 pounds.
She phoned you in the bathtub because your feet were asleep when you went to stand up. You sat for too long.
Yeah, but I've been enjoying that series. It's pretty good so far, and I think the kind of the next one maybe from everybody's recommendations is maybe the Thrawn trilogy. People really recommend that highly.
the Heir to the Empire, Last Command, and
Yeah,
there's another one in there.
Yeah, it's Dark Force Rising.
Yeah.
Where the red fern grows.
God, they're good.
I actually the Legends. I'm a noob. I have only read 3. I'm behind on everything else. I mean, I'm behind on some High Republic stuff. So, I mean, I've read Heir of the Jedi, Shatterpoint, and Bane: Path of Destruction. Those are the only 3 Legends books I've read.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's been cool to get back into it. I've kind of it's been so long since I've really dug into books. I just don't have fucking time. But the fact that when you have a Star Wars podcast, it's a nice like motivator to be like, you should probably learn some more shit about what's going on, or you see characters in these animation shows or live action shows and you want to know more about them because you realize that there's these moments where people show up and, like maybe Jay's read the book and his jaw drops because he's like, oh, fuck, they brought in this guy. And I'm like, who's that? I don't know who that guy is.
Or more or less, it's like, oh, they fucking changed Cobb Vance's backstory. I'm so fucking pissed off about that.
Yeah, you
Or
get that too.
You know.
Yeah, for sure. I wanted to talk about some comments made by Marcia Lucas, ex-wife of George Lucas. And I don't know if you've all read these, but I'll just give kind of a quick breakdown. She gets a lot of credit for saving the original trilogy movies and all that. She was an editor. I think she even got did she win an Oscar?
Or
she just got nominated?
There were a couple of editors, I thought, that because they're the ones that came in and changed the pacing and like cut the scene with the all that shit. Yeah.
But there were some quotes from her in a recent book by Howard Kazanjian, is that how you say his name? Who worked on the Star Wars and Indiana Jones films, and he shared a couple quotes that I was going to mention. So she says stuff like, I like Kathleen Kennedy, but now I'm going to shit on her, is basically what she's getting at with all this stuff. She kind of like starts it off with the whole like, I really like her, now I'm going to tear her apart and everything that she's done.
It's like that old In Living Color skit where I'm not one to gossip, so you ain't heard that from me. And then she goes on and just talks shit.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, so she says, quote, it seems to me that Kathleen Kennedy and J.J. Abrams don't have a clue about Star Wars. They don't get it. I was furious when they killed Han Solo. Absolutely, positively, there was no rhyme or reason to it. I thought, you don't get the Jedi story. You don't get the magic of Star Wars. You're getting rid of Han Solo? This is, by the way, before Episode 9, I guess, when these books happened, just to give you a timeline on that.
Even Harrison Ford was like, yeah, I've done everything I can with this guy.
Well, she has Alzheimer's because the reason he was frozen in carbonite was because Lucas didn't think he'd come back for a third one.
Right.
If they made a third one. So he was almost positive, and he said the only way he would come back is if they killed him off. So he got his wish 39 years later.
Who's Harrison Ford? Like, where did he go on that
where
guy?
would he go in life?
Yeah.
You know, thank God too, because he's the best part of that film, in my opinion.
Oh, he was
so
fucking
good.
great.
Yeah.
Best Han Solo
He was.
movie.
Yeah, you knew he wanted to be killed off earlier. And so I don't know what she's getting at there. It's almost like she's just so stuck in whatever that moment in time was and is latching onto that. And so she's like, oh, now you're ruining what I create or what I helped create.
Right.
It's just kind of a petty argument, you know?
Well, she's just angry because she didn't get any of that $4 billion plus Disney stock when he sold it.
Disney stocks.
She got out at the wrong time.
Yeah, she did.
She also said they think it's important to appeal to a woman's audience. So now their main character is this female who's supposed to have Jedi powers, but we don't know how she got Jedi powers or who she is. It sucks. The storylines are terrible, just terrible, awful. Whoa. I don't know what to make of that quote.
Jesus.
It's a fucking dumbass statement.
George is having like trauma flashbacks from when he was married to her.
This is what I was talking about.
Oh man, 50 years and I'm still not winning the fight.
What if behind the scenes she had a gag order this whole time and it just finally like the statute of limitations came off from their divorce? Oh, now
She's been holding these back.
Yeah.
She's been saying this only in private in her own home to somebody who will all these years. She's like, finally I can unleash.
She gets like an Uber Eats and she's like, fuck the sequel trilogy.
Ma'am, I'm just trying to get you to I'm just getting your food. I'm just delivering your food.
Can you type? Yes, here's your Chinese. Come here for a minute. I'm going to dictate. She's fucking just going on a rant.
There's also quotes that she has in there about like seeing episode 1 and sitting in her car crying.
Fucking hell.
Is it that traumatic?
And that was George.
Well, apparently, apparently she represents a large portion of the fan base. So, I mean, like, sitting in the car and crying after a Star Wars movie, it's just ridiculous, man.
Well, I think that when I saw the prequels, especially after being an original trilogy guy, I struggled heavily with them. It was only when I went back where I started to, and I've said this on our show before, like I really dial in on the things I like. Mm-hmm. Not that you can't criticize away, because there's plenty to criticize there. But I just figure like, okay, what did I really like about Phantom Menace? And I get into that. What are the small bits about Attack of the Clones I like? Oh. What I like about Revenge of the Sith? So to throw it all away, I mean, to literally physically be crying in your car because you didn't like the way that he went with the prequels.
Right.
Those poor Gungans.
I feel like it's less about like actually caring about Star Wars and more like self-gratification. I don't know. Everything she's saying just sounds extremely baseless and selfish. I don't understand watching a movie and then crying in a car afterwards. I just don't get it.
Yeah, it's not Armageddon. Come on.
Like she's complaining because the movies have lost their touch since she was no longer associated with them.
Yeah, and I mean you've heard whatever rumored or whatever gripes from George about what they've done since he's left, and to a degree you're like, okay, but you sold it, so you have to be comfortable with that.
Yeah. You
also understand he did create the whole thing, so he's got a little more attachment to it. I get that too, but I think it's a similar situation, just even more. She's just a little more willing to unleash all her true emotions, whereas he kind of dials it back a little bit and only kind of makes a quip here and there.
Well, George is, I don't want to really say calculated, but he's more or less, what's the word for it?
Juxtapose.
No, it's not juxtapose. It's not juxtapose, but it's he's passive aggressive. He's very passive aggressive. He's like, well, these sequel trilogy movies, they're not the Star Wars that I envision, and the Star Wars I envision. We're gonna bring back Darth Maul and have a sex scene, and but
Oh,
anyway,
right, I forgot about that.
Here's my museum. It's like, bro,
He's fragile. He's very fragile. He's a nihilist.
I mean, the only thing that I felt was really valid with what Marcia said was she did kind of talk about how it was too much CGI eye candy with, especially with episode 2. I was like, well, that's fair, because that really was off-putting for me.
Yeah, that was more of him like testing the
Green room.
Yeah, I mean, it was all like, it was almost like leave that shit at film school, George, because like everything was brand new. He was shooting high def. No one had done anything like that. So he fucking did it. He couldn't talk all of his really good director friends into taking over Star Wars. So he did it. And it was all that. Like, the actors were like new to that. I mean, there was like blue screen, green screen, stuff like that, but not a whole fucking movie. You know, they'd build sets 5 feet high, and the rest of it, it's just gonna be CGI. We'll get in there later. You know, so it was that was like a sign of the times. Now you look back, and I'm sure even George is like, well, I swung for the fences, and
well, he did that with the original trilogies. They did a lot
That's
of
true.
things that they had never done before,
Yeah.
groundbreaking,
yeah, they had
stuff.
to invent
So
shit. Yeah,
I think he felt like he had a certain role to step
and it's hard to
into.
disrespect him when you look at like everything he's done, like big picture, like to go back and like a lot of it didn't work, especially like the prequel stuff, but it's arguable when you look at like younger people who grew up on that shit. They'll defend it to that's their movie. So I don't know.
Right.
Marcia doesn't struggle with
Her words?
with voicing her opinion
No.
over the whole situation.
Yeah, he's such an enigma and like this paradox that he creates. Star Wars is not only, as much as he like preaches it's about kids, fundamentally it's not 100% about kids. That's just the through line that you can market to death, honestly. But like the fact that he made Star Wars is like a political representation of how he felt about the time and how
Right.
he felt about Hollywood. Like, I mean, fundamentally, from A New Hope to Return of the Jedi, he had massive amounts of help, but it was his own core central ideas about how he felt about society and film and things like that. So Attack of the Clones, even though I personally just don't like the movie and I'd rather just never watch it, like it's a testament the fact that he's doing it all on his own, as if you juxtapose. Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
The original
Dang.
trilogy where he had a bunch of help. So, I mean, I think that's a testament to whatever, if you want to give him kudos, the fact that he was doing all this on his own during Attack of the Clones.
Yeah. I think it's just so taxing on the actors to do that, to have to act in that. I mean, we've heard Ewan McGregor talk about that, about how excited he is to be in the volume and different things and actually have things to look at, things to act against versus just like, okay, there's going to be like a massive explosion right here behind you. You're not going to know anything about it.
Oh, yeah. But also George's technology is advanced so far that actors can look at the camera before they do the scene of exactly what's going to happen. So, I mean, back then, it was just, hey, Keanu Reeves for The Matrix Reloaded, just scream into the green screen. Ah! So he's just there screaming, You have no idea what's happening. So, I mean, technology is just ridiculous now, and that's thanks to Uncle Georgie.
Well, wasn't there a documentary about the prequels, and they show wasn't the Phantom Menace one of the first movies they did like a complete previs on?
Is it?
Like,
I didn't know that.
It was all computer animated, like low budget animation, like not every frame, but they did a lot of the scenes. I think it was one of the first movies they did like almost a complete previs. And that's like, if you look at what they do with Marvel movies are previs years in advance. Like they know what every shot is going to look like sometime, maybe before the actor's hired.
Yeah, and they used a lot of that previs from what we saw with The Mandalorian,
Right.
where they were like walking through and showing all those different angles. It's amazing how far in advance they are. So they're like, once you get there and the actors come in, they just need to hit these marks and emote, and we're good because we've got everything else around them sorted.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty incredible.
The previs is better than the graphics on all the video games we played growing up.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's like crazy. It's insanity.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to finish by just saying, I know you, Ty, are a big fan of Star Wars Rebels, which we're reviewing right now. As far as other series go coming up, like what's the one you're looking for? We just talked about this, or maybe I'm forgetting our sequencing. I think we just talked about this in the news because we recorded this separately. But we talked about a potential release calendar, which goes Book of Boba, Andor, Kenobi, Bad Batch, and Mando season 3. And so I was just curious, what's the show that you're most looking forward to coming up in 21-22?
I think it's Book of Boba without a doubt. Like Andor's probably going to be a sleep hit, but like it's Andor. I'm not personally craving that story. Kenobi's going to be Kenobi. Everybody's going to love it. So naturally, I might have a problem with it. Bad Batch first season didn't really impress me, and then Mandalorian season 3, I haven't been too in love with the Mandalorian. Like it's had moments that's blown me away, but
Wait, hold on. You're a Star Wars fan, and you've had a problem with the Mandalorian?
Well, yeah. I mean, I can have problems with like the Mandalorian and still like appreciate.
I disagree. Not on this show. You can't.
Did you know at the end of the season 2 that was Luke Skywalker? Because a lot of us didn't know that.
It's true.
Oh, really? Because see, I was watching it with my wife, and I was like, "Oh, that's fucking Luke Skywalker." And I get on Twitter, and everybody's like, "It's fucking Luke Skywalker," and I'm like, "Oh shit, I've had the wrong reaction." No,
what did you like more, season 1 or season 2?
Season 1 by far. Because it was an advancement of Grogu and Din. I don't feel like they actually got character growth in season 2. Like, that's a debate for another time, but I don't think they did at all. I think the season started, he dropped Grogu off, and then it ends, because it literally does. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to say season 1 is more development for those two. I mean, you see where he starts and where they go. Season 2 just has so many fucking hammer jobs they drop on you as far as characters that it just blew me away. So it's hard for me to say which is my favorite. I think season 2 just has the more like emotional draw because of the people we saw. But I think maybe from a story standpoint, season 1 might have been better.
It was also world building. Like they were able to do a lot more in season 2. As far as like widen the landscape of the universe.
Oh yeah, and it's great to see like Ahsoka.
Wait.
Cobb Vanth.
Ashoka.
Ashoka. Boba Fett, which is the best part of the season, hands down. Boba Fett getting his work in. You know, and Luke Skywalker. It's insane that we're actually getting these like small pieces, but in Star Wars we get a lot of small pieces. I want, give me something, like give me a fucking Luke Skywalker show if we're gonna do that, you know.
The frog lady and her eggs, don't forget her.
See, I think that low-key, that's probably like the best episode of the season, like with the spiders.
Oh God.
No, I'm being serious.
Feed.
With the spiders,
Cut his feed.
Good cinematography.
It was,
like,
yes, it was. Yeah, like a lot of, we discussed that when we first covered it, was very reminiscent of Aliens, and that was what's his name? The director that did that was the one that did the season finale too, with Luke Skywalker. Peyton Reed. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just think I'm most excited for Book of Boba because I think the potential to have Cad Bane in there, to have Fennec Shan, to have some like character development for Boba Fett. The fact that we, you know, hands up, maybe I hope to God that, you know, we might get to see Han Solo. You have to have it.
Awesome.
You have to have it because if Boba's not hunting down Solo, I don't want it.
All right, well, thoughts on how Boba Fett escaped the Sarlacc pit? What is your theory?
Oh God. Because he's all scarred up because the Sarlacc was digesting him.
Over 1,000 years, I hear.
He had like a big box of Tums in his utility belt.
His colostomy bag burst and it poisoned the fucking Sarlacc.
I bet he just flicked his tonsil a couple times.
He triggered his gag reflex.
Like a speed bag.
Triggered his gag reflex and then he shot out with a bunch of bile.
Maybe he's like one of those slow digesting worms where once he gets in, he's like stuck in his throat for 1,000 years. So maybe he like took a shit and then just spit him back out. I mean,
to be fair, we've already kind of seen it. Like we saw the Mandalorian get like swallowed whole by the crate dragon and just come out just fine. So like if like that was fucking a beast to be dealt with. And you know, if Boba Fett was like, how do I get out of this slow digesting Sarlacc pit? You know?
Yeah. As long as he didn't burn up all his jet, pack fuel, he's good to go. It would be funny though if they show that scene, and I know Cole, you're just dying for that scene, the Sarlacc pit, where the second the barge blows up and they scoot out of there, he just goes shooting up right after. He was only out of play for like 15 minutes.
Yeah,
guys.
Or he just uses one of the rockets he has and blows the thing to oblivion. He's got the fucking the rocket in the end. Which we still don't know how he
That really would be funny if like they don't spend any time at it at all. Like it just opens up with like that, like he comes flying out, boom, and you see the barge still going down, and like you can just put it together yourself. And you're like, 40 years. Wasn't really that big of a deal.
It'll be one of those Star Wars things, I bet, where it's like, yeah, you were asking a bunch of questions that didn't need to be asked. Look, there's Boba Fett, and everybody will be like, oh, hey, look, there's Boba Fett. Anyway.
And it's funny, he's got the scars all over his face and body. He actually got acid thrown on him by some kyber crystal protest. Like Greenpeace was there. They threw acid at it, hit him in the face. I was just standing here. I was just working security.
I like the idea of him getting swallowed, and then like he's down there, and there's like 12 more people in there with him. He's like, hey.
He takes one.
You've been gone a while.
Takes one of the Jawas and he like puts them in the throat and it just like starts rubbing them down.
Reflex.
His cape ought to irritate his esophagus.
Choke on this.
Oh shit, man. All right. Well, that was all I had for this. But
we could do this all night.
we could. But I know you got to get up early, Ty. So thank you very much for joining us.
Yes.
It's been fun talking to you. And for those who aren't aware or who need a reminder, where can they find your show, Wayfinder Podcast?
You can find me at Wayfinder Pod, and then you can find my personal at Jabawanawanga.
I love that.
You got to spell that out, bro.
Jabba Wanna and WANGA. I'm not spelling all that out. Also, I have a Halo podcast that's coming out, so you can Halo Lorecast. You can go find us.
Real quick,
Awesome.
Halo 2, obviously, best fucking first-person shooter ever to grace the screen.
Halo 2, yeah.
Oh,
Did you say no? Yes?
No.
Oh, man.
well, what's your favorite?
Oh shit! Probably ODST.
Oh, my God.
Oh my god.
We're gonna have to agree to disagree here.
Or
aren't we?
Halo 3. Or Halo 3. It's one of those two. It's not Halo 2.
Halo 2 was the best. It was the launching.
I agree.
Best.
Did it come out before Ty was born?
No.
It may have.
No. No Halo has. I'm not that young. I'm almost 30, unfortunately.
As his mom walks in and tells him it's time for bed, Ty.
Mom, the meatloaf!
I never know what she's doing up there.
I'm talking to my friends.
So stupid.
Oh, well, thanks again, Ty. It was really good talking to you. We'll have you back on some other time, but until next time.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. I hope to be back on soon.
Good to meet you, man.
All right, thanks, Ty, for coming on. It was great talking to you. It's time to go to the Maul Bag.
Ball bag time. No more tie time.
Hello there.
You've got mail.
So silly. All right, we have two emails.
So aggressive.
Two emails this week, and the first one. Uh-oh, Mike Laybourne.
Why don't you eat my ass, Mike? That's my response to that.
I love it. Mike Laybourne says, why, and this is a very great question considering what we were just talking about last week with Visions and some
Yep.
of the names, like Dan. Why does Luke have a regular name when everyone else has made-up names? Why are there no Steves, Tonys, and Susans in the galaxy? Great question.
Very good question. Yeah, I was gonna say apparently Mike didn't listen to our episode on Visions because it's not out yet. But okay, he has yet to meet Dan and Tajin or Tajin. Well, that's also a good point. Polar opposites on those names as well, like Tajin and then Dan.
I think it was like a smart decision for Lucas just to name a character because you need like a reference point of someone to relate to, and you can never remember names. And some of these names are strange enough as is. So just like have your hero character, your main character, just be Luke.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I mean, I'm sure it's part of the mystique to have these different names that are odd, that are a little bit off or whatever. Just because then, if it was just a bunch of like Bobs and Johns and Sarahs, it'd be like, am I watching The Office or am I watching Star Wars?
Yeah.
You know what I mean, like it would be too. It allows you to kind of transport yourself to another area. But they do have some, as we talked about. There was Dan. One of the ones that comes up in the High Republic is Douglas Sunvale. Are you a fucking accountant? Like, what is
Wow.
that name?
Sounds like he sells awnings. He's got an awning store.
How far are you into are you reading or listening to the High Republic?
As we probably just talked about with Ty.
Yeah.
I'm through the first section. So I got through that first interlude where you meet the Nihil, and that's it. So I'm like a third of the way through the book. Something like
That's
that.
where
How
we're
far
at,
did you
too.
guys get?
Yeah, right around there.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're a little further. We've met the Nihil, and now they're back on their ships, and they're kind of having a fight with each other. But I was going to bring up I don't know if we talked about this with Mike, so edit it out if we did.
Ty,
But,
you mean?
when we were listening to it, there's the guy who does sorry, Mike, I'm looking. There's the guy that he does all the narration, but one of the characters sounds like Donald Trump.
Oh, really?
Like when he does. Remember that we were laughing?
Yeah, well, we couldn't put on.
I can't remember the character's name now, but we were fucking laughing because he just goes right into like Trump mode as he's like narrating this character.
Well, audiobooks, you gotta pull from all sorts of sources because you gotta make up some new, sounds.
Yeah, true.
So
I'm not a big fan of the audiobook.
No, I know.
yeah, I struggle. I have to read it myself. There's something about it. The only thing I get out of it is pronunciations, maybe.
I mean, yeah, and that's who knows if that person's doing it right too as well. I mean, I might pick up the Light of the Jedi and just read through it, and I'm sure I've already talked about this as well. This is so difficult right now. I'm trying to hold my tongue.
Yeah, full disclosure, we haven't actually talked to Ty yet, but thank you, Ty.
And also, Mike, you bite your tongue because what you don't know is there's a new story coming out about Susan Skywalker.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike. Email number 2, Brian Auer. What supporting character from the movies or legends would you like to see show up on a show? Given budget restraints, we tend to see human/near human characters. I would think Dengar, Mara Jade, or Marco would be interesting adds to Mandalorian or Book of Boba.
Well, I think we've talked about the first two, Dengar and Mara Jade, and actually I think it's rumored that Dengar shows up in Book of Boba Fett.
I would think so.
Yeah, there's been talk of that, and it is almost impossible for Mara Jade not to show up at this point, with everything alluding to what we've talked about with Heir to the Empire, and with Blue Boy
Thrawn.
himself, his name,
Thrawn.
yes, Thrawn. God damn it, I hate podcasting. With Thrawn,
You're talking about Chad Bane.
Yeah, it's very Chad Bane's going to show up too, I think, but I see her showing up sooner than later.
Yeah,
She's really like the last big, well-known one that they haven't adapted.
That was my initial thoughts too. Would
Yeah.
be Chad Bane or Cad Bane, if you guys want to get technical.
Right.
Would be the one that shows up in the Book of Boba sometime. I don't know. Like, I'm always interested to see how they cast that. You know what I mean? Like, or who ends
Lindsay
up being
Lohan.
He comes in with the girl from The Fifth Element, the blue girl, and that's his wife. She's just singing off in the background.
The opera singer one?
Yeah, the opera singer.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to see who this Ori Marco is.
Yeah, I wasn't sure who Ori Marco is.
I'm looking this one up.
Well, and the other thing he kind of mentioned there, I think, is movies as well. And it's something we haven't seen. I'm trying to think if we've seen it at all. Have we seen a character from a movie? I mean, from the original trilogy, but I'm thinking more recently, like anything from the sequel trilogy, we haven't. So it'd be kind of cool to see some characters from there, even smaller characters, show up in some of these shows just for that crossover.
Maybe the droid guy from the planet from episode, that was the Last Jedi, wasn't it? Where they go to the planet and C-3PO gets his memory wiped.
Oh,
No,
that's Rise of Skywalker.
Skywalker, yeah. That little cute guy.
Babu Frick.
Babu Frick.
Babu Frick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if they can give us a whole episode and then come back to the characters about some fucking frogs and a love story carrying, Grogu eggs on a back, they can bring some fucking characters we're looking forward to too.
Still mad about it.
Still not over it.
Sitting in that hot tub with the goddamn eggs.
I'm just saying, fucking spiders are coming down attacking everything. She's like, it's spa day over here.
I got them nice and spread out so they're not easy to collect also.
Did you find Ori Marco?
What a fucking neglectful mother she is too. Like he's just picking eggs out and eating them, and she doesn't care. Yeah, I did. He looks like if you were to flip a nutsack over and then put a patch and eyeballs on it and put a Jedi cloak on him.
Oh God, I see him. Gross.
Mm-hmm.
That is a full-on scrotum head.
He is.
Oh man. Well, maybe so. We hope so, Brian, for your sake. You can't see anything but scrotums right now, given what you just went through.
Right, exactly. I do want to put a patch on one of mine now, though.
Tattoo option?
Mine's a mean nut.
All right. Do we have a FACPAtoid this week or no?
I believe we do. Hold on, let me get to the sheet here. FACPAtoid. Okay, so I found this interesting actually. It was just after we recorded last time. George Lucas fought to have Looney Tunes play in front of A New Hope. Like in the old school days where you go to the movies and you'd sit down and you'd have cartoons play and everything. He wanted Duck Dodgers to play before. It was I think it's the only one that was nominated for an Academy Award, like the short was originally. And he fought he couldn't get the rights from Warner Brothers to play it in front. Although if he had tried probably during like Empire or Return of the Jedi, he probably would have got his way because the movies were huge.
Yeah.
But beforehand, he didn't have any luck. But he liked the idea because it was sort of the old serials, right? So he was trying to go all in on that, where like you'd see a cartoon before. He was probably pulling propaganda news to play before too. But
support the war effort.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it was kind of a cool thing though. I could see Duck Dodgers sort of playing in front. I'm surprised they've never done that, like even in the future. Put something like that together just for shits and giggles now. But I thought that was pretty cool.
I don't remember Duck Dodgers. What's that one about?
It's just Daffy Duck as like it was more like a Buck Rogers kind of take. But he was Duck Dodgers in the 24th and a half century or some shit like that.
Right. Yeah.
And it was him flying through space doing his weird little missions. They brought that character back and throughout the years on Looney Tunes, but I think the first one was a short that they had aired originally. I don't know when, and he was trying to put it in theatrical in front of the movie.
Okay, I just thought it would be odd if they were like, let's show Elmer Fudd before you watch Star Wars. Like, what the fuck is this about? I don't get it.
Probably trying to capitalize on the kids aspect of things.
I think the idea was to put something in front of it to sort of give you an idea of what you were in for, because like for the time it was you didn't go into the movies like, holy shit, what is this? So at least like the sci-fi aspect. Although maybe it would have been like, you don't really put a comedy. You don't go see a comedian before you see some inspirational speaker. So it would be kind of a weird little thing to let's have a laugh at this cartoon, and then you're supposed to take Star Wars serious, and maybe you wouldn't. So might not have played well. I don't know.
Yeah.
Got to really align your opening acts.
Right.
That's why you come to the show, for these FACPAtoids.
Exactly. Listeners, I want to say thank you for listening.
Ty, thank you Mike from the Wayfinder Podcast.
Whoever he is.
We appreciate you
Cheater's
being
a cheater.
And thank you, Ty Laybourne, for your email.
And thank you for listening. Until next time, never tell us the odds.
In our experience, there's no such thing as luck.
We have spoken.